Alright, the demos keep on coming as we're up to part 5 of my Best of Next Fest series. So once again, sit back, get cozy, and it's time to talk about some more fascinating and interesting indie game demos. We're starting things off with a few demos I've played on my own, and this one is Regency Solitaire 2. From Grey Alien Games, who's made both casual and kind of hardcore takes on Solitaire. This is a sequel to one of their more popular casual games, taking place in Regency, Britain. We play as Bella, who has just married into a new family and is trying to restore the manor and win over her new mother-in-law. All the while, intrigue and other stories are going to happen. Can Bella throw the best garden party in the land? Will Horatio and Marietta get to live happily ever after? Will Josh finally get good RNG with his decks? Who knows? Maybe those answers will be found throughout this game, or at least a few of them. The gameplay itself is going to be in line with the previous titles. You're going to be doing Solitaire, but with the added benefit of getting access to kind of special powers and quality of life features by buying new things for your garden and costumes. You'll earn the money by performing combos and completing challenges during the Solitaire events. Now, like their previous games, you can play this on either normal or hard difficulty. Normal, you're just kind of free to do what you want, but on hard mode, you must complete all the chapter challenges, which that can prove to be quite challenging, especially again if you've played some of their previous games. But Regency Solitaire 2 is going to be one of those titles that is definitely more in line for someone who likes the more casual side of things. And if you are looking for that kind of casual Solitaire experience, then this is an easy pick for you. And if you want to challenge yourself like me, well, then you certainly have hard mode ready, willing, and able to test you. And what a perfect game to switch from a casual game to, well, super high stakes logistics and automation. This is Final Factory, and in this one we are trying to rebuild ourselves out in the universe, and to do that we are going to have to harvest lots and lots of minerals, build plenty of spaceships, and do all that sweet automation that I know each and every one of you watching this just is dying to do. Our gameplay here kind of reminds me a lot of Dyson Sphere Program, in that it's designed to be, I think, a little bit more friendlier in terms of logistics and setup compared to, say, Factorio that can be very advanced. The system here works that you'll set up various space stations, aka Final Station, that can be put together with different modules that affect what that space station can do. If you want to mine resources, you're going to set up a mining platform, put some mining bots on it, let them go to work. If you want to do construction, you're going to need construction modules, 3D printers, and transports, and so on. And as the game goes on, your space stations will get more elaborate, your materials and things you'll produce will get more complicated, and you'll need to balance this with power, heat, and as well as stability of the station. So you can't just build one super station that will literally do everything, at least not at the start. There is very light combat as well, as you can build kind of combat ships that will follow you around, and your own ship has a very basic pew-pew laser. And as things go on, you'll explore more galaxies, fight this kind of like evil AI that's trying to take over, and of course, build ever more elaborate and more complicated automation and production chains. The GUI here was a little bit on the odd side in terms of just like trying to get things set up. They really want you to set up kind of like your essential or your more frequently built stuff on the hotbar in the bottom of the screen. But this one is certainly looking like there will be a lot of potential for logistics fans. If you enjoyed the kind of more relaxed, or at least more easier to digest form of automation with Dyson Sphere Program, then this is a definite play for you. But it does look like there will be a lot more advanced stuff as you get further down the research tree and get further in. We now turn to Ultros. This is a Metroidvania where we're exploring a cosmic uterus that is planning to give birth to some strange being. And in order to get out, we need to figure out what is happening in this strange place. The art style itself is certainly striking and different for the genre, and the game is certainly trying to do something different in terms of how progression works as well. You can level up your character or unlock new passives, new combos, and so on, but to do that, you need to use the calorie intake you get from the various creatures you kill, and eat them in order to kind of buy or access new abilities. You can also grow different fruits and vegetables in this strange area, which can also provide you with more calories. And your food also counts as your healing items for when you're in combat. As we played through the demo, we got some basic Metroidvania staples, including the good old double jump. Now, combat is the one area where it feels a little bit weird. Well, weird compared to the aesthetics. You see, in order to attack enemies, you'll do like your normal attack and your heavy attack, but you don't have an actual block. Instead, you're supposed to slide just as the enemy's about to hit you to go through them and then initiate a kind of counter move. And this seems to be like the best way of fighting these enemies. You'll also have to deal with enemies with shields that you'll need to break before you can do damage. But I also had cases where I did the slide even though I didn't pass through the enemy, and it still counted for the counter. So I wasn't sure if that was a bug or if something else was going on. This one is definitely for the Metroidvania fan looking for something very different in terms of its aesthetic and design. It's another game where I'm interested to see kind of like where it will all lead to in the finished version. We now turn to Mendacium. This is another Metroidvania where we play as lizards in a prehistoric era. There's a great catastrophe coming and we're going to have to try and stop it using the power of magic and Metroidvania and apparently a giant spear. This one is certainly trying to do a lot of different things in terms of its design. You first have a kind of level. As you kill enemies, you'll be able to level up your character. If you fight anything that is more than 2 levels above you, you will take increased damage from them. Your spear can also power up kind of your magic ability that will allow you to place traps, use special moves, etc. And when you do enough damage, your spear will swap over to a bow for a few shots of increased damage as well. When you die, you go into the spirit world, where you can explore and sometimes find additional resources and clues. And the game is definitely built on Metroidvania progression, in terms of unlocking new movement tech, new ways of interacting, crafting, and more. This one, I really got into it as we played it. It is definitely designed more about using your dodge rather than jumping to avoid a lot of the damage. And there seems to be quite a lot to this one. Even in the demo, we found a lot of upgrades. We got this kind of like tongue ability that lets us stick to walls and kind of prep an enemy to do more damage. So a licking tactic seems to be a strat here. It can be a little hard at the beginning to understand what you're trying to do. The onboarding just kind of leaves you to your own device for a lot of it. But once you make it to the first village and can start doing the quests and do more crafting, the game certainly opens up. And this one definitely has potential for Metroidvania fans looking for, again, another very combat and progressive-centric Metroidvania. And now we have Trash of the Titans. This is a tactical RPG where we play as a gang of animals who are in a wizard city, and apparently eating wizard trash grants you magic powers. But our turf is under siege by the rat punks, who are coming to try and steal our lovely delicious goodies, and we're going to have to beat them up one dumpster and one back alley at a time. The gameplay here is reminiscent of that of Into the Breach, in that everything is kept to be very decisive and very apparent as to what is going to happen. Every match, you're in kind of a randomly generated area with the trash that you're trying to protect in dumpsters and trash cans. Enemies will spawn in from specific points and they'll wander to the nearest trash can in order to try and take it, and then they will leave by the same area that they came in at. Your job is to keep them from doing just that. Your crew of animals has different abilities based on what class they belong to. Apparently our skunk is a wizard, and our badger is a kind of berserker or barbarian. As you play, each map will also have an elite that is kind of shown by them wearing a hat, and each elite will come with a randomly chosen perk that will help their other rat brethren, and we want to take that out. By capturing their hat, we are given a boon, and the boons themselves will always apply to your characters, either by modifying a passive effect, giving them a new one, or altering or giving them a new active ability. And so, much like with Into the Breach and some of the other tactical RPGs, a lot of the depth is going to come in with how do you properly defend each map based on what randomly chosen upgrades, randomly chosen perks you're going to get for that run. You will lose if your entire party is wiped out, or you lose enough trash that you can no longer eat. That's another interesting point. After a match, the trash that you've protected can be fed to your animal friends in order to gain them power in an almost Tetris-like system. I don't know if the perks disappear once they kind of get like pushed under like the bottom of the bar or not. If anyone can tell me yes or no, that would be great in the comments down below. But this one is looking to be a very solid take on the tactical RPG. I'm interested again to see like where like the high level play goes in terms of how your different animals behave, what are some of the more advanced threats you'll deal with, and this could be a very great game if you're looking to dig around and look for some goodies. And now up is Stolen Hearts Wolf Knight. This is puzzle, precision, platforming, and a little bit of action thrown in. When the evil Wolf King has stolen the hearts of the land, I mean literal hearts, not metaphorical hearts, it is up to us to explore, get them to safety, and do a lot of platforming along the way. The levels are set up that in each one you'll find a heart hidden around. You'll need to get a key to get them out of their cage, and then you must transport them to the exit. There's also bonus collectible in the form of fireflies, and as you play through, you'll also be able to absorb animal spirits, which will enable you to kind of transform and change your abilities for that level. The platforming here starts out fairly simple, but it does get more advanced as you'll need to again transport the heart to wherever you need to go. Now the heart can be thrown. Unfortunately, you can't carry or you can't like catch the heart in midair, so it does lead to some more committed angles you'll need to deal with. But this one is certainly looking like it's going to be on the challenging side, where it can grow to be a challenging side as you play. But while this game may look to be on the cute side, especially by that heart in the cage there is definitely a lot of bite to it as well. And now we turn to Faraway Lands, Rise of the Yokai. This is a kind of sideways strategy / city builder. And while it may at first glance look like another Kingdoms-like, this one definitely seems to be focusing more on city building, city management, that kind of thing. You are in feudal Japan, and you have been tasked to build a village up and try and save the land from the evil yokai who are coming to do damage and destroy things. And to do that, you must build your city, get new people to come live there, and of course hire and train warriors, samurai, and more who can help defend it and go out into the world. This one is definitely looking to have a lot of content to it in terms of the base and city management side. Only people who can come to work to your village will come with randomly chosen perks or negatives as well. So you get the perfect hard-working insomniac who can stay up all night and day and work for you, or you can get someone who's antisocial and won't want to fight or do much with a group. Now, we really didn't get a chance to see a lot of the depth in this one. For the stream, it is going to be on the slow side, and this is going to definitely be a slow burn style strategy game. but there is certainly a lot here for someone who's looking for a very beautiful and aesthetically pleasing city builder to dive into. And for the last game of today's episode, this is Telmari. This is a puzzle platformer where we play as a girl who's trying to figure out why thorns and vines are ruining her sunflowers. So she's teaming up with an ancient being, well, a fox, in order to get there. The platforming in this one is built on using your plunger arrows as makeshift springs. The more you bounce through in like a single run, the faster you go. And you can shoot them either straight, at a downward angle, or an upward angle as well. As a bit of a limitation, you cannot shoot it directly next to a wall or floor, wherever it is you're trying to go. So you do have to be a little bit more considerate about how you're aiming them. As a really nice touch, the fox that you see trailing me in the video, that is the par time for each level. And if you can beat the fox at the end, you kind of get, props and can be used for achievement purposes. I really like the aesthetics as well. It has a really nice look to it. The only problem that I have with this game, and is an annoying one, is that it does not use global cycles for how the levels are restarted. You see, if you die in a level where, let's say there's an enemy who's walking left and right along a path, if you die, the enemy does not reset back. Instead, you just have to kind of keep dying until you get the right cycle. And it would be so much better for these levels if it just featured a global cycle for kind of enemy patterns and enemy placements. But this one looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. This is all going to be, at least from what I saw on the store page, to be single room or single screen challenges. And it looks like it can get very challenging besides just doing the par time. But really solid use of kind of the platforming physics and the movement tech. And if you're looking for another platformer to enjoy, then this one should be on your list. And with that said, we're going to wrap up our showcase here. There's only a few more left. If you'd like me to play your game for a future video or stream, please get in touch. But come back tomorrow and we'll keep this showcase train going. That's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to do the YouTubing stuff people tell you to do. If you're interested in more of my thoughts on design, check out my books wherever they are sold. Visit our Discord and Patreon, and come back for daily discussions on game design here, and on game wisdom, where you some of the art and science of games.